Hello, this quick talk is about revolution in education by leveraging the technology. A quick story about myself. I was born in India. I went to do my master's in computer science at University of Cincinnati, then moved to Silicon Valley and worked there about 10 years at various startups doing a lot of geeky stuff. Worked for some big companies, some small companies, all related to bringing the cutting edge technology in the world. After that, I went to Harvard Business School, and that was really the turning point for me. When I looked at the teaching methods, tools, and processes at Harvard Business School, I started getting more and more interested in education and how we teach and how we learn. So I decided to, after Harvard Business School, I decided to start a company which focuses on technology and education. And the goal being, what if I can take the tools and technology and the processes at Harvard Business School and be able to spread that at various schools in US, in India, in Colombia, all over the world, basically by leveraging the technology. So 500 years ago, when Newton went to school, he would be probably sitting here and the professor will be talking. So same thing today. There is a professor talking in the front and there are students listening. Most of the time, the first one or two students in the front row are really listening. Rest of the students at the back are sleeping. So that was 500 years ago, and this is today. Everything in our life has changed. The way we communicate using cell phone, the way we travel using airplane, the food we eat, everything has changed. But the most important aspect of our life, the education, the foundation of our culture, our society, the learning, the teaching, the education hasn't improved much. What happens is, if you're a grade student who are sitting in the front of the class, you are basically when the professor asks you to solve a problem, you go on the whiteboard, you solve the problem. But the rest of the students in the back are what I call going through a knowledge gap. So let's say you are in second grade, you learn multiplication and division. You understand the multiplication very well, but you understand half of the divisions. So you could do divisions for smaller number, but not for the bigger numbers. So even though you don't have perfect score, you still pass, because the 60% or 70% passing, you still pass the second grade without understanding division very well. And in third grade, let's say you're studying equations. You understand part of it, but part of it you don't. So you keep going like this, and by fifth grade in your math, you understand the part of the equation, part of the complicated divisions, and rest you don't. You were able to survive up to fourth grade because the foundation was building up. We weren't building on top of the foundation. So by the time you get to the fifth grade, because you don't have some of the fundamental fundamental skills, you're gonna lose track of what's going on in the school, and your parents, your teachers will think you are not a sharp student, you are a C student, you're not sharp enough to understand what's going on. What has really happened is the problem is not in the fifth grade. The problem was in the second grade, where some of your foundation skills were left out, and the gap kept on becoming wider and wider. So only one student is able to cross this chasm. Rest of the students, about 90% of the students, are lagging behind. So what's the problem with our current education? We think if there are 50 students in a classroom, we think they all learn at the same speed. They don't. We think by teaching them, by using 90% of our time in talking, the professors talking, and only 10% of interaction, there's no time left for reflection. We know this very well. By the time you graduate from college or university, most of the employers complain that the students are not ready for the real life, the profession. So when I completed computer science, I knew the theory, but a lot of the competencies which were needed to be able to work in the startups, I didn't have those. So I learned them on the job. So we're not preparing the students who are ready for professions. And the other thing is, let's say you have the best teacher who is teaching you English. What if you can take this best teacher and make millions of copies of this best teacher, and everywhere in the world, in every classroom, can get access to your best teacher? That's not possible with our current system. So as this t-shirt is saying, I was born intelligent, but education ruined me. And that's the case of 95% of the population in the world. So there's a new model called flipping the classroom. So there's a reason why I flipped this particular image. Basically what you see here is a whiteboard and bunch of students. You don't see a professor standing next to the whiteboard. The professor is actually way behind where the students used to be, and the students are in front. That's why we call it flipping the classroom. So in this model, the students are given set of videos, lectures in a learning management system, which they can look at house or in a computer lab. So instead of sitting in a classroom and sleeping half the time, you are sitting in front of a computer or your iPad or what have you. You're looking at interesting animations, let's say about Newton's first law, or you're going through some games which are related to multiplication and divisions. And if you don't understand it in the first round, you keep on repeating the game as long as you're getting perfect at your foundational skills. So basically, there are recorded lectures which you watch in your free time or during the classroom, but before the class starts. And then once you're ready with the information, then you come to the classroom and you discuss. What do you discuss? If one of the students, let's say Matt, is having problem with divisions, he will ask John to explain the things. So John is taking more of a leadership role and improving his communication skills and being able to explain the concept to Matt. And they will talk about how do you use Newton's first law while in life. So the teacher there is managing the discussion. He is evaluating which students need help, as opposed to spending 90% of his time talking about the same lecture which the teacher has been teaching for the last 15 years with the same boring voice and boring attitude. He is rather engaging in conversation. He is creating application of this concept and sort of directing the class. So that's the flipping the classroom model. So here's one video of how the recorded classroom looks like. This is about adding and subtracting fractions.
1/4 of the pie. Let's make it this one. I thought that was a different color. Change the color. Pink. This 1/4. This pink 1/4 is this 1/4 of the pie. So if I were to eat both 1/4s, or 1/4, and then I eat another 1/4, how much have I eaten? Well, you could look from just the picture. I have now eaten 2 out of the 4 pieces of the pie.
As you can see, the video is well prepared, and once you make this video, you don't need to repeat adding and subtracting in the classroom for 18 years. This classroom, by leveraging the technology, you are using the human power, human potential. You're making use more of that. The teachers can use that energy to evaluate students, to observe the students, to focus on weak students, to help the smarter students go further. So the student can learn at their own pace, and the goal of the teacher is everybody getting the perfect score. Another example is how Harvard Business School uses case study method. So most of you know that Harvard Business School has a very specific way of teaching business school students, which is called case study method. What that does, when I was at Harvard, about 5 o'clock in the evening, I will get a set of papers which are basically case studies. and I will have until the next morning 9 o'clock to read all of this case study, think about it. And what these case studies were, so just to give you an example, there could be a case study about a company going through a crisis, and at the end of the case study there will be a question: if you were the CEO of this company, what would you do? So I had the whole night to think about this particular problem. So when I enter the classroom at 9 a.m. the next morning, the professor will look around and choose anybody in the class. They may say, Sach, if you were the CEO of Acme Corporation in this particular situation today, you have an interview with CNN, and they're going to ask you how you're going to react to this situation. What would you say? So basically, what the professor did, he ignited a conversation, a discussion. And once I reply, he will ask some other student to argue with me, or he will ask some other student to play the role of CNN news agent, and I'm playing the role of the CEO. So instead of spending 90 minutes in the class trying to explain the case, which I can read on my own or watch a video on my own, the professor used the classroom time to have interaction and discussion, so on and so forth. And this method has been very successful. And one of the data point you have is how successful are some of the Harvard Business School graduates are in the world. Of course, these students, when they come into Harvard Business School, they already have a lot achieved. But besides that, the method really works, and I can tell you from my own experience. So next 5 years in education, we're going to see more changes in next 500 years. You're going to see more changes in next 5 years in education than last 500 years. As we saw earlier, that there hasn't changed much in education, and the current education system is not working. We know that. We know it very well. We're spending billions of dollars, and in terms of the money, in terms of the students, 18, 20 years of their life, the kids' life, and everybody's suffering. The government is suffering, the students are suffering, the families are suffering, the workplace is suffering because they are not getting the kind of people they need to be able to perform the job. What I want to emphasize here is this particular flip the classroom method is not going to replace the teachers. It won't replace the teachers. In fact, it's giving tools to the teachers so they can be successful. Teachers today are frustrated. They know only 10 out of the 50 students in a class are getting their concept, but really they just don't have time, resources, and energy to focus on those 40 other students who are behind. So this technology, this particular tool, this particular process is going to help teacher. They are not going to replace the teachers. In fact, the teacher's role is going to be much more important in this particular method. In next 5 years, you will see the students being more prepared for the career and challenges of the world, as opposed to just feeling the information. Because of the internet, the information is there. We know you can find out anything about US history in internet on your mobile phone within seconds. But what internet won't tell you is what did you learn from the history and how do you apply it to the current energy crisis, for example. So the application, the reflection, the personalization of the information is more important than just giving the information away. One of the things, as we talked about, no students study in the same pace. So the future of education is personalized, reflective, competency based, and social education. So there will be blogs, chat, interactive communities where students are helping each other. One student in India is helping a student in New York to learn fractions, and somebody in San Francisco possibly is helping somebody in South America to learn English. So there's going to be a social, global, interactive education. So this is, once you know that you understand there is problems in education, it needs to change, and we need to leverage technology in education. What kind of technology do you need to be successful in changing, in revolutionizing, in evolutionizing the education space? Well, you need a learning management system where the courses could be uploaded, where you could manage and track the registration of the students. So that's like the foundation. And in there, you will have a course library. Let's say American history. American history hasn't changed, and it's not supposed to change. So if there are great videos, animations, courses somebody else has taken, why don't your school use those courses instead of spending energy of your students or of your teachers to create those courses? So there's course libraries you need. You need your student information system connected with your learning management system. You need to be able to track competencies, and you need assessment modules. And also, you need a gamification platform. You need to be able to proctor the online test if you decide to do that. You need an e-portfolio system where the students can write their own blogs. You can allocate them badges. You can have chat. You can have discussion forums, so on and so forth. And you need a support for your mobile. You need a just-in-time training. When you need it, you need to be able to access it. So on and so forth. So we have this complete platform which is available for you, which can be turned on within 4 or 5 hours. Be ready. You can choose which modules. If you don't need e-commerce, you don't need to purchase it. You can pick and choose which particular plugins, modules you need. Here's a success story. Harker just got named one of the best schools in US, and they use flipped classroom model. They are one of our clients. Flipped classroom model has been used in many places in US and around the world, and there is data which shows about 67% increase in test scores just by using the technology. No increase in your cost. And 67% increase in your test scores. 99% of the teachers say they will flip their classroom again. 80% of the students have improved their attitude. Where else can you get this kind of results? In the times when our education budgets are going down, where technology is all over our world, all over our life, what we forget to do is use this technology for the most important aspect of our society, which is education. By combining the education and technology, we were able to see these kind of results. In fact, there is a decrease in the cost, the total cost of education, with tremendous results for the students and for the society. About Paradiso Solutions, we based in Silicon Valley. Our focus is education and technology for corporate and education world, and we are a full service provider. We provide the technology platform, we create the content if you need to, we train your staff, we train your administrator, we support you 24/7, and we integrate with your existing system. So we are an e-learning expert. Some of our clients are Empire State University in New York, California College of Arts, Portage College in Canada, American Centennial University. I can go on and on. We have clients in K-12, University, Community College. So to know further about our technology offering, or just want to chat with us, want to learn from us, feel free to email us at sales@paradisosolutions.com. Our website is paradisosolutions.com. Our phone number is 800-513-5902. Hope to hear from you. Thank you.